The wind howled to the hollow bones of the starport, sweeping dust across the skeletal remains of what was once a beacon to the stars. Rusted towers reached skyward like fingers in prayer or defiance, their surfaces pockmarked by centuries of abandonment. Reed Halden stood in the middle of it all, squinting through the grit, hands shielding his eyes. His breath fogged slightly in the cold morning air, the only sign of life in a place that had long since been forgotten by the galaxy. He had come to rebuild what others had discarded. That was his curse. Or his calling. Reed hadn't decided which. A lone shuttle, old but loyal, was parked behind him, its landing gear sunken slightly into cracked tarmac. Inside, Tara, his daughter, busied herself with the portable emitter, trying to boost their comm signal. She was 12, whip-smart, and endlessly curious, a dangerous combination in a world full of secrets. She'd been quiet since they landed, eyes always scanning, fingers twitching like she could feel the hum of something buried just below the surface. Reed stepped forward, boots crunching over debris. He'd expected silence, decay, perhaps some scavenger remnants. But beneath the corrosion there was structure, a rhythm to the place. The bones of it were intact. "Dad," Tara's voice crackled through his earpiece, "I found something weird in the southern tower. Looks like it's still powered." He froze. "That's not possible. The grid's dead." "Yeah, well, tell that to the lights that just flickered on when I stepped inside." Reed sprinted. He found her at the base of Southern Tower, one of the tallest structures in the compound. Vines had coiled around its spine, but the door had swung open with a hiss that shouldn't have been possible. Tara stood just inside, gaze fixed on a wall panel that glowed faintly, responding to her presence. "Did you touch it?" he asked, breath catching. "No," she replied, stepping back. "It lit up when I walked in, like it knew I was here." He approached cautiously. The language on the panel wasn't human. Alien, yes, but not entirely foreign. He recognized some of the symbols from a database he'd pulled from an old Dominion archive. Ancient, obscure, supposedly extinct. Tara's voice was soft. "This place isn't abandoned, is it?" Reed didn't answer. That night, they camped in the control hall beneath the tower. Reed patched a generator into one of the ancient consoles and tried to coax data from the brittle systems. Bits of code blinked to life. Maps, logs, transit schedules, all encrypted. He could feel the scale of it beneath his fingers. This wasn't just a station. It had once been a gateway, a hub of travel and diplomacy, and someone had tried very hard to erase it. Tara curled up on a cot nearby, watching him work. Why would someone destroy a place like this? "To bury something," he murmured. "Or someone." Just before dawn, the proximity sensors triggered. He and Tara jolted awake as the screen flared red. A ship was descending. No transponder. No flight request. No identification. Reed powered down the console and grabbed his tool pack. Not a weapon, but he'd made it work in tight corners before. "Hide. Stay quiet." Tara ducked behind the supply crates, her small form vanishing into shadow. The ship landed without ceremony. Sleek. Matte black. It bore no insignia, but its lines were military. Fast, efficient, and expensive. A ramp extended, and a figure emerged, cloaked and silent. Reed stepped forward, cautiously. "This is a civilian operation. You're trespassing." The figure removed their hood. She was tall, sharp-eyed, with silver blonde hair braided back in intricate coils. Her presence was commanding without needing words. She studied Reed, then the ruins behind him. "This port is sovereign property," she said. Her accent was unfamiliar, smooth but clipped. "You were not invited." "Sovereign to who?" "It's been dead for 200 years." "Not dead," she said. "Just dormant." Reed narrowed his eyes. "And who are you to wake it?" She hesitated, just long enough to register. "My name is Serena." She didn't offer a title. That was telling. Reed gestured around. "You seem to know more about this place than I do." "I should," she replied. "I was born here." Tara's gasp from behind the crates nearly gave her away. Serena's eyes flicked toward the sound, but she didn't move. "You brought a child?" she asked. Reed stepped slightly in front of the hiding spot. "My daughter, she's harmless." No one is harmless, Serena said. Not here. She walked past him, stepping onto the cracked floor as if it were sacred ground. Her fingers grazed a wall panel. It responded immediately, casting a soft light across her face. Reed stared. You have command codes. I have memory, she said. This port knows me. The implications rippled through him. If she was telling the truth, she wasn't just a local. She was something far more dangerous, someone connected to a buried empire. And if she'd come back, it wasn't by accident. You're not here for restoration, he said quietly. You're hiding. Serena turned, her expression unreadable. They'll come soon, when they realize I reactivated the network. Who? She looked past him, to Tara stepping cautiously into the open. Everyone. They spent the day in tense alliance. Serena offered little, only that she needed the starport operational. Reed refused to give full access, but he didn't block her either. She moved with certainty, reactivating systems with codes and gestures the consoles hadn't recognized in centuries. By nightfall, part of the tower's central grid was online. Navigation pings echoed into deep space. That's when the second ship arrived. This one didn't land. It hovered above the ridge, bristling with weaponry, its hull marked with insignia Reed didn't recognize. A voice cracked through the station's half-functional speakers. Serena Kirill, stand down and surrender. Serena's expression darkened. Kara, friend of yours. Reed asked. She was, Serena said. Now she's collector. She thinks dragging me back will earn her rank. Reed looked at Tara, then back to the ship. We can't fight that. No, Serena agreed, but we can stall. She activated the tower's defense grid, a miracle, given its age, and launched a signal jamming field. The ship above fired warning shots, scorching the edge of the platform. Tara screamed. Reed grabbed her, pulling her to cover. We need to run, he hissed. Serena shook her head. If I leave, they'll kill anyone who helped me. Reed clenched his jaw. Then give yourself up. I will, she said softly. But not yet. The standoff lasted hours. Kara's voice returned again and again, each time colder. Serena paced the control room, a cornered flame refusing to extinguish. Finally, she turned to Reed. Take her, she said, nodding to Tara. Run. The ship you came in, it won't make it far, but I'll give you a window. I'm not leaving you, Tara said fiercely. You must, Serena said, because I won't be the last. You open the port. That means something. Reed grabbed her arm. There has to be another way. There isn't, she said. Not this time. She walked outside alone, cloak fluttering in the wind, face lifted toward the descending light. Tara pressed her face to glass, tears unshed. She's giving up. No, Reed whispered, staring at Serena as she raised her hands in surrender. She's protecting us. The ship swallowed her in silence, and the stars above shifted, as if bracing for what came next. Reed watched the woman's chest rise and fall, slow and steady. It had been hours since she'd emerged from the hidden stasis chamber, her golden suit humming faintly with alien power, her skin pale and slick with cryo-sweat. She was breathing. That was enough for now. Tara hovered nearby, clutching a steaming mug of soup. She looks not scary, she whispered. She's alien, Reed said, more to remind himself than her. That doesn't mean she's safe. But he couldn't deny she didn't look like a threat. Regal, yes, eerily composed, even unconscious, but not dangerous. Not yet. When the woman finally stirred, she didn't panic or speak. Her eyes opened slowly, unblinking, studying the room. She took in the crude shelter Reed had built inside the restored control tower, makeshift walls of welded scrap, exposed wiring, heat panels flickering overhead. She sat up with fluid, careful grace, brushing silver blonde hair away from her face. Reed stepped forward with caution, raising both hands. You're safe, he said. No harm here. She stared at him, expression unreadable. Tara offered the soup. It's real food. Kinda. The woman took the mug with delicate fingers, sniffed, then drank. No reaction. No thanks. Can you speak? Reed asked. Understand us? She set the mug down. Your tongue is coarse, she said, voice calm but unfamiliar. Words stretched slightly as if unfamiliar with their weight. But I understand. It wasn't just her language. Her presence was off, like gravity shifted when she moved. Reed had seen 100 species in the war, but none quite like her. And none with eyes like that, deep violet, flecked with what looked like shifting gold. You've been asleep, he said. A long time. We found you in a sealed pod. I was not meant to be found, she replied. That landed like a warning, though her tone never changed. Reed folded his arms. Well, that didn't work out. We're restoring the starport. You were under it. A flicker of tension crossed her features, barely perceptible. The starport, she echoed. How much of it functions? Not much, Reed said, but enough to keep us alive. You've got a name? She hesitated. Serena. Just Serena. No last name. No title. That alone told him she was hiding something. Over the next days, she recovered fast, faster than human physiology would allow. She barely ate, slept in short intervals. And though she never spoke of herself, she asked dozens of questions. How long had the port been dead? What species controlled the sector? Were the Zorentians still in power? Each answer seemed to tighten something in her jaw. She was cautious, never leaving the main building, but wandered the restored modules with quiet interest. She often stopped at windows to watch the mountains. Once, Reed found her standing at the edge of the high platform, staring into the dusty twilight, like she was listening to a sound only she could hear. Terra adored her, called her Star Lady when she thought no one was listening. Serena didn't correct her. Instead, she told stories, fables, she said, from her people's old worlds. Tales of cities carved from light, empires beneath oceans, beasts born of forgotten suns. Reed suspected none of it was fiction. Still, he didn't trust her. Too much quiet strength. Too much precision in how she moved, how she said just enough. He'd seen war commanders act like that, ones with blood on their hands. Late one night, he found her in the core system's room, standing before the backup generator, an alien relic he hadn't yet deciphered. This room's off limits, he said. She didn't turn. You're trying to awaken something older than your species understands. You mean the generator? I mean the bones of this place. Reed stepped closer. Why were you in stasis here? Her hands rested on the control panel, fingertips just brushing the symbols. Because here I would be forgotten. And sometimes forgotten is safe. Reed exhaled. You're hiding. Not hiding, she said. Surviving. He watched her trace a line on the console that lit briefly under her touch. She knew this place. Not just the technology, its purpose, its design, possibly even its history. Were you in charge here? He asked. I was once many things. Now I am Serena. Okay, Reed said, swallowing his frustration. But if you're going to stay, I need honesty. My daughter's here. Serena turned then. The look she gave wasn't defensive. It was mournful. She is why I haven't already left. That stopped him cold. What do you mean? I've seen many children orphaned by war, she said softly. Yours is strong. Curious. That's rare. Precious. You have experience with war? I was born in it. That night, Reed lay awake, thoughts swirling. Serena wasn't just some law survivor. She was someone important, someone trained, maybe even someone dangerous. A week after Serena's awakening, a sound split the silence of the dawn sky. Not thunder, not weather, engines. Reed sprinted to the outer platform. A vessel was descending, sleek, dark, Imperial Zorentian design. Visitors. Terra asked, rubbing her eyes. No, Reed said, pulse hammering. Not the good kind. Serena joined him, her eyes narrowing. They found me. You sent a signal, he realized. To warn my people, she said, voice low. But they no longer answer. Then who are these? Those who want me gone. Or caged. Reed's instinct screamed at him. He grabbed Tara's hand and dragged her inside. Stay out of sight. Serena didn't follow. She remained at the platform's edge, standing tall as the ship landed. A squad disembarked. 6 armored figures, moving with precision. Not raiders. Not traitors. Military. Their leader, a tall woman in black, stepped forward and addressed Serena with a sharp nod. Princess Valis. The title hit Reed like a punch. Serena didn't flinch. General Kara. You've made things difficult, Kara said. You were to vanish, not awaken. Reed stepped between them. She's under my protection. Kara's gaze flicked over him. You're irrelevant. This facility is under Imperial quarantine. Like hell, he snapped. Serena spoke, firm. No blood will be spilled here. You lost the right to make that call, Kara replied. Then she looked at Tara, peeking from behind a support beam. Unless you want to lose more innocence. Serena didn't argue. She raised her hands. I will come willingly. Tara cried out, but Reed held her back. Serena turned once. Just once. She smiled at Tara, gently. Don't fear. You've given me more peace than I deserved. And then she walked into the ship. The platform fell quiet. Dust swirled in the wake of the departing engines. Reed stood frozen. The girl who had come from a stasis pod wasn't just a lost traveler. She was a lost ruler. And now she was gone. But something in Reed's gut told him this wasn't the end. Not even close. The silence after the ship vanished was unnatural. Like the world itself held its breath. Reed stood at the edge of the landing platform. Fists clenched, the air still vibrating from the engines that had taken Serena. Tara sat behind him, legs pulled to her chest, face streaked with tears she refused to let fall. She gave up, Tara whispered. She just went with them. No, Reed said. She protected you. They spent the next day in a haze, patching up broken panels, checking sensors, anything to keep from thinking. But the port felt emptier now. The hum of restored systems sounding more like echoes in progress. That night, Reed found the message. It flickered into life on the console he rarely touched, one of the few Serena had access directly. A soft pulse, like a heartbeat, opened a glowing message in the alien script. Tara entered the room just as it shifted into translated speech. Serena's voice calm and unwavering. If you're hearing this, I am not free. I surrendered because your lives meant more than my pride. But they won't stop. What I carry, they fear. What I remember, they want erased. This starport holds more than bones. It holds a key to something lost, and I was never meant to survive long enough to awaken it. Reed, you once said you build things to fix what you couldn't save. If you believe in that, then save this place. Save her. The message ended. Reed stared at the console, jaw tight. Tara looked up at him. We're going after her, right? He hesitated. It's not that simple. But it's right, she said. He thought of Serena, of her strange calm, her stories, her silent strength. Then he thought of the look in Kara's eyes and the way Tara had screamed when Serena stepped onto that ship. They weren't done. Reed spent the next 2 days probing every corner of the port Serena had touched. He found access points hidden behind bulkheads, sublayers of code buried beneath the operating systems. Systems that were centuries ahead of anything humanity had built. She had left breadcrumbs, and he followed. Beneath the communications tower, sealed under a plate marked with indecipherable glyphs, he discovered a hidden conduit room. It wasn't just power routing. It was a command chamber. The console was dormant until Tara approached. As her fingers brushed the edge, the surface came alive with light, responding not to his presence, but hers. Reed stepped back, startled. What did you do? I didn't, she paused. It felt warm. Glyphs shifted into a swirling holographic map. A signal blinked in the upper quadrant. The ship, Serena. It wasn't far, still in orbit, likely docked with a larger vessel or station. Waiting. She left the trail on purpose, Reed said. But following it was another matter. They had no ship. That night, he remembered the bay he'd sealed off when he first arrived. The one with collapsed ceiling and a rusted outer lock. The one he assumed held only broken parts and wasted time. He returned with Terra and a plasma cutter. It wasn't a junk bay. It was a hangar. The ship inside was unlike anything he'd seen, sleek, obsidian-colored, with glowing seams of blue energy tracing along its hull like veins. Serena had said the port held more than bones. This was a heart. Restoring it took everything. Fuel cells were missing. Wiring was corroded. Stabilizers fused from years of neglect. Reed worked day and night, sleeping only when Terra forced him. She assisted where she could, her small hands fitting into places as couldn't, her sharp mind adapting to alien instructions faster than he liked. The ship responded to her more than to him. 3 days into repairs, the warning came. The scanner Serena had secretly activated picked up a returning signal. Kara's squad was en route, and they weren't alone. Why come back? Terra asked, watching the screen flicker with approaching pings. Maybe to make sure Serena didn't leave behind anything useful, Reed said. Or anyone. They had hours. Reed poured himself into the final systems. Cooling array, flight protocol, hyperspace calibration. Each piece fell into place, but it was Terra who unlocked the core command system. The interface recognized her touch, and for a moment, the ship hummed with full energy. Lights surged. Shields blinked to life. Engines pulsed. She keyed it to someone like you, Reed said. Not me? She trusted me, Terra said, even if she didn't say it. The outer alarm screamed. A ship dropped into the upper atmosphere, sleek and black with the same angular lines as Kara's cruiser. This time, there would be no warnings, no negotiations. Reed powered the hangar's inner seals. Get on board. We fly, or we die. Terra climbed into the co-pilot seat, eyes wide but steady. The ship responded instantly, system snapping online like it had only been sleeping. The roof panel groaned as it retracted, ancient mechanisms fighting time. Light poured into the hangar. Outside, a drop pod struck the ground nearby, and armored shapes began to move toward the tower. Reed gritted his teeth. Here goes everything. The ship lifted. Smooth. No shudder. No fight. Like it wanted to fly. They cleared the ridge just as the enemy forces opened fire. Plasma rounds screamed past them. One struck a nearby outcropping and sent a fireball of rock into the air. But then they were past. Into the clouds. Into orbit. The signal pulsed again. Stronger now. Serena's location confirmed. The enemy vessel loomed ahead, a small orbital base disguised as a cargo station. No official designations. No flight paths. A ghost ship. She's in there, Terra said. How do you know? I just do. Reed angled the ship into a low approach. The station ignored them. Likely hadn't expected this relic to fly, let alone fight. They docked without a challenge. Silent corridors met them, gray and sterile. Reed carried a makeshift blaster. Terra behind him with a torchlight. No signs of life, until they reached the cell block. Serena sat alone in a force field cage, arms resting on her knees, eyes closed. She opened them as they approached. You're late. You left a hard trail to follow, Reed said. I left the only one I could. You found it. I knew you would. We're getting you out, Terra said. Serena stood. Then move fast. They disabled the cell with the same system Terra used to unlock the ship. Serena had tied everything together, from the ship to the beacon to her own rescue. Alarms began the moment the field dropped. Serena didn't flinch. She walked through the chaos like it was a script she'd already read. They made it back to the ship with guards in pursuit, shots blazing across the loading bay. Serena paused only once at the threshold, turning back toward the corridors. What? Reed asked. This place is a grave, she said. Let it burn. She tapped a control chip on her wrist. Deep within the station, systems flared, lights turning red. The emergency sirens screamed louder. They launched just as the first explosion tore through the side of the station, a blossom of fire casting long shadows across the stars. In the silence that followed, Serena sat in the cockpit beside Terra. Why now? Reed asked. Why let us help? She looked at them both, soft, tired, but free. Because you reminded me that survival is not enough. Some things deserve to be reclaimed. And the Empire? Reed asked. They'll come, she said. But next time, I won't be hiding. The stars stretched ahead, infinite. Behind them, the galaxy stirred. The stars had never looked so close, or so uncertain. They drifted in orbit for hours, silent but alert, letting the stolen ship's systems recalibrate. Serena sat at the helm, eyes scanning long-range sensors, shoulders tense with focus. Reed had never seen her still for so long. Even in captivity, she had exuded a quiet defiance. Now, she looked like someone bracing for a storm she knew was already on the horizon. Tara was quiet too, curled beside the console, studying the alien glyphs scrolling across the screen. The ship still responded to her touch, as if it understood something about her that even she didn't. Reed watched them both, one forged in secrets, the other still discovering what she was made of, and wondered when his role had shifted from rescuer to something else entirely. "We can't stay out here," he said finally, breaking the silence. That station was a message. "They'll come looking." "They already are," Serena replied. "There's a bounty on me the size of a small moon, and now you two are tangled in it." Tara looked up. "Good. Let them come." Serena actually smiled. Small, but real. Their options were limited. The ship was powerful, fast, but alone. No allies, no reinforcements. The old starport they left behind could no longer hide them, and Earth was out of the question. Whatever Serena carried, knowledge, memory, or bloodline, it was enough to make her dangerous. And danger followed her like a shadow. They needed a plan. Serena directed them toward the fringes of the Veil, an unregulated band of space between map systems. Lawless, dangerous, but ideal for vanishing. Reed didn't argue. They slipped past patrols, dodged scans, and dipped into the gravitational trough of an abandoned moon. There, hidden beneath the crust, was a thing Serena had risked everything to remember. A vault. Reed recognized the symbols etched into the rock walls. It was the same language layered beneath the starport, the same design principles that shaped the ship. This wasn't just a hiding place. It was a foundation, a relic from the same forgotten empire that Serena had come from. "How long has this been here?" he asked, brushing dust from a control panel. "Centuries," Serena answered. "Maybe longer. It was buried after the purge. Before I was born. You think they'll find it?" "They will. That's why we can't just guard it. We have to wake it." With Tara's help, they activated the vault systems. Lights bloomed in sequences. Deep hums echoed through the stone like the breath of something ancient. A central core emerged, cylindrical and tall, its surface etched with flowing data. Serena stepped forward and pressed her palm to it. It rejected her. Nothing happened. She stared, unblinking. "It doesn't recognize me." Tara came closer, hesitant. "Do you want me to try?" Serena nodded once. Tara touched the core and it surged to life. Energy raced through the conduits, illuminating the entire chamber. The vault awakened, not to Serena, but to the girl who had learned to navigate its sister ship by instinct. Reed exhaled slowly. "What does this mean?" Serena was quiet for a moment. "It means I'm not the key. She is." Tara looked between them. "But I'm not like you." "You don't have to be," Serena said. "You're something else. Maybe something more." The revelation didn't sit easy. Reed saw the worry creep into Tara's eyes. She wasn't just a girl caught in an interstellar conspiracy anymore. She was a living passcode to a lost civilization. Whatever that meant, it wasn't going to be simple. They stayed hidden for 2 more days. Serena worked in the vault, decoding layers of information Tara had unlocked. Reed scavenged for materials to fortify their position. He knew they were buying time, not safety. On the 3rd night, the silence broke. A pulse hit their sensors, clean, precise, like a sonar pinged through space. It didn't belong to pirates or traders or scavengers. It was military grade, Imperial. Serena's face hardened. "They've found us." Reed moved fast. He locked the ship's systems, armed their makeshift defenses, and prepared for an exfiltration that might not come. Tara sat by the vault's core, fingers still glowing from the interface. "They're close," she said. "I can feel it." The first ship dropped into orbit a few minutes later, dark and spiked with weapon ports. It was followed by 3 more. Too much force for a capture mission. This was a purge. They're going to bury this place again, Serena said. Only this time, they'll burn it first. We have to get out, Reed said. Tara looked back at the core. If I leave now, it'll all shut down. Then we take it with us, Serena said. But the core was too large, too integrated into the vault structure. Moving it was impossible without tearing the entire system apart. Then Serena did something Reed didn't expect. She took off her wristband, the same device she'd used to control the old station's explosion. She pressed it into Tara's hand. You stay. Activate the failsafe when we're clear. Reed's jaw dropped. What are you talking about? She's the key, Reed. This vault isn't just data. It's a command center. If the Empire gets it, they'll erase us for good. But if she awakens it fully, you're not sacrificing her. I'm not, Serena said. She's choosing. All eyes turned to Tara. The girl didn't cry. She nodded. I'll hold them off. Just don't take too long coming back. Reed wanted to argue, to pull her into the ship and run. But there was something in her eyes, clarity, not just courage. She understood what she was, what she could become. They left the vault in silence. As the ship launched, Serena watched the scanners. The enemy ships began their descent. They didn't detect Tara yet, but they would. Will she be okay? Reed asked. She's more than they can handle, Serena said. And now they'll know it. They breached the upper atmosphere and rejoined the black sea of stars. Behind them, the moon glowed faintly, its secrets humming just beneath the surface. Reed leaned against the console. We're coming back. We have to, Serena said. The Empire thinks it erased its past, but she is the future. A transmission echoed to the comms, unmarked, static-filled, but unmistakable. She's broadcasting, Serena whispered. Tara's voice came through, low and clear. I'm still here. Come and get me. And somewhere across the stars, the galaxy stirred again.